Welcome to episode 40 of the Map It For, not of the Map It Forward podcast, of the Daily Coffee Pro friends. If you are just listening to this and you are not watching on YouTube, I just wanted to give you a heads up about what happened to episode 39. Somebody flagged that episode, which is on integrity. Somebody flagged it on YouTube. We don't yet know why. There's nothing in there that is in any way should be a problem, but we are working to get the video released. If you're the person that flagged it, thank you. You've exposed a hole in our workflow. So we have shifted our workflow so that we're never held up by YouTube videos being held to ransom. So this shouldn't happen again, but I just did want to let you know that that's what happened and that's how things have gone down. We are trying to get that episode back now. But before I move on, if you want to watch that episode, you still can go and watch it on our website, mapitforward.org/podcasts, or you can go and watch it on YouTube. So it's just that the content is not available for us to download, so we can't strip the audio and turn it into a podcast. So on to today's episode 40 of the Daily Coffee Pro, how to approach networking in the coffee industry. This is an interesting one. And the reason I say it's interesting is because for me personally, I'm quite the introvert, but I'm the version of introvert I'm an extrovert, but I'm the version of an extrovert that's an introverted extrovert. So I need to spend time on my own, but I can be in front of other people. That introverted part of me, though, can sometimes lead to me feeling a little bit of social anxiety. And I witness a lot of social anxiety in our industry. When I speak to people, a lot of them say to me, I have a problem networking because I suffer from social anxiety, or because I don't really know what to say to people. I don't know where I should go to meet people in the coffee industry. And so this is for all my people in that situation. It's difficult to walk into a room where you don't know anyone. It's difficult to know what to say in these situations. So we're going to have a conversation about all of that stuff today. Networking is all about building a community. And the primary reason that you should be networking is if you want to have a career rather than a job. So if you just want to have a job in coffee, there's no reason for you to network. There's no long-term benefit for it other than if you just want to move to job to job to job to job and not be engaged in a community. Networking and cultivating a community is important so that you can grow the web of people you are connected with and people who support you and you can support. That's the point of networking. And the farther and wider you're able to grow that network, the more benefits you receive from that network and the more potentiality that the more potentiality for benefits that the network receives from you. This goes hand in hand with integrity when something like that happens. Who you network with and who you deep network with is also an important strategy, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, when you are networking, when you're starting out in networking, and Jamie Berry touched on this when we spoke the other day on our podcast, the way that you manage your mindset in going into a networking situation is going to be the difference, a major part of the difference between the success you experience from that or the debilitating anxiety that you experience from that. Now, what's important is instead of going in there and feeling really intimidated by the room, it's important for you to go in there knowing what it is that you want to achieve from being at that event. That could be having fun, that could be meeting a bunch of people, it could be introducing yourself to people who you've always wanted to meet, it could be making friends, whatever it is. From the time you're getting ready to go to the event, start preparing yourself with a mindset of success. This is what I want to achieve, and this is going to be the outcome. Things might go in a different direction, but my intention is that everything goes to plan. Okay? Now, I'm not a person who's into rah-rah positivity. And so what I would suggest is that you also role play heavily. What happens if a conversation doesn't go the way you want it to go? What happens if nobody's talking to you? What happens if you turn up there and nobody else is there? All of these things, when role played, you will remove your anxiety, lower the stress that you're going to experience in those situations, and catch yourself. Okay? So, for example, you walk into a room, you're sober, everybody seems to have been drinking for a long time. You've gone there because you want to meet new people. You've got a decision to make. Am I going to drink and catch up with these people? Or am I going to socially drink, go and introduce myself to these people and find a way to have a good time? Or am I going to not drink at all and still find a way to have a good time? All of those things are positive experiences, but they're positive experiences that you've role played with yourself that aren't compromising whatever it is you're trying to achieve. You get to determine your level of integrity. Nobody owns that for you. So if you want to get in there and get as fucked up and shit-faced as everybody else, go have at it. But a word of caution with that. A networking event is still a professional event. It is still somewhere where your actions are going to be tied to your professional career. So I would caution you in going into any situation and getting super high or super drunk or super anything extreme. Go in there, be social. If you drink, have a couple of drinks if you feel like having a drink. If you're driving, don't drink. I don't drink, and so that's easy for me. I go in there with the intention of having a good time. And I do that by connecting on an authentic level with people. But I would just say to you, please remember, you are representing yourself professionally when you are at a networking event. What is an example of networking events? If you're at a throwdown, if you're at a cupping, if you're at like a convention or an expo, even when you go and visit your friends' cafes, carry yourself with professionalism. This is important. Those things follow you around. I'll never forget, a couple years ago, I was at SCA and I mentioned to one of my American friends, I don't see any Aussies here. And he turned around and he said to me, thank fuck for that. The Aussie guys, the women are welcome anytime, but the Aussie guys just come and get shit-faced drunk and just make a mess of themselves. I was so embarrassed. And it reflected really poorly on us as an Australian coffee community that this was the reputation that the males in our industry that were coming to it was SCAA back then, that were coming to SCAA every year. And it wasn't an opinion that was held by just one person. It was held by many people. And so remember that gets tied to you. Equally in that vein, remember that the people who you associate yourself with and the people who become a part of your network, their shine shines on you and your shine shines on them. Also, their shit shines on you and your shit shines on them. So if you are mixing with an undesirable crowd, people who don't do business well, people who fuck people over, people who talk shit about other businesses, people who are happy to crush other businesses for no reason, people who poach other employees, all of the shady, non-desirable behavior, their shit is going to stick to you. And again, your integrity is your responsibility. You choose what you want to do. As I've said in a previous episode, you do you, boo. But just remember, you've been advised. This is something that will reflect on you. So give people you're networking with that have high integrity, if that's what you choose to be around, a reason to want to be around you. Make sure that the way that you conduct yourself brings the kind of people into a conversation with you that you would like to network with. It's important to make sure that when you're aligning, the further you move into your career, that you're aligning with people who are just a little bit higher than what you're trying to achieve. And I know that sounds classist or something. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the sense that always make sure that the new relationships that you're making are not just with people that are at the same place as you are in your career. If you can align yourself with people who are a little bit further on than you, or a lot further on than you, and have the same standard of integrity as which you're trying to align yourself, what's happening there is you are establishing the future path for mentors. People who you will one day say, hey, listen, I know we met a number of years ago. I'm just super grateful for the fact that we've been able to maintain a relationship for that time. I was wondering if you would at all entertain being my mentor. In order for somebody to make the decision whether they're going to be your mentor, they want to know that they are going to be able to have a positive impact on your career, and that the way that they do things is aligned with the way that you do things. And so going in and networking and establishing a long vision for the scope of the relationships that you're building while you're networking is going to have long-term payoffs as your career unfolds. I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, head to our Instagram, imapitforward, and comment either on our Instagram story or our post about networking, or comment in the video below. And if you're the person who did flag that last video, please stop being an asshole. Thank you. Peace, love, and peanut butter.